Welcome, Warriors, to another episode of the Warrior 3 podcast. I got a special guest today, my wife, Dr. Samantha Shriner, and she's the creator of Warrior 3 Women. Super excited about adding this piece to Warrior 3 today. It could get interesting. We're going to be going back and forth, asking some questions. I don't know what she's going to ask me, and she doesn't know what I'm going to ask her. Super excited. The one thing that you can do to support us in this podcast and this mission, hit that subscribe button, and also share this with somebody who's close to you, maybe far from God, far from health, fitness, going through relationship issues, and lead them to warrior3project.com, or you can even go to the warrior40challenge.com and get on board with the Warrior 40 Challenge. We pray that you enjoy the episode today. All right, Sam. So thank you so much for being brave and stepping outside your comfort zone to be on the podcast today. I'm super excited, and I think when I talk to people, men, or just in general, they always ask, hey, when are you going to have your wife on the podcast so we can just get to know her a little bit? So thank you.
Yeah. Share the dirty secrets.
Share the dirty secrets. So, all right, we're going to get right into it. I want to go through some questions, and like I said before, you don't know what questions I'm going to ask you. I don't really know what questions that you're going to ask me, and so, hang on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Like I told earlier, we could cry, we could laugh, we could throw coffee at each other. I don't really know what's going to happen, but anyway, I just really want you to know how much I love and appreciate you, and how much you mean to me. I think a lot of times, even in the spotlight of like Warrior 3 or even our office, like, you don't get much of the credit, but you're kind of the bones of, and support and the foundation. Obviously, Jesus is the foundation, but you get what I'm saying. I just appreciate you. So before we get into this, I just want to let you know I love you. So
thank you. Before we get into this.
All right. So first and foremost, question number one, tell me why Warrior 3 Women, right? We got 4 boys. You're the office manager for our very successful chiropractic clinic, a lot going on. It'd be very, very easy for you to say, like, I've got enough on my plate. And then, I think it was a couple months ago, you say, hey, I need to be obedient and do this. So why Warrior 3 Women?
Yeah. I do have a lot on my plate. And so I feel like I've resisted it for a really long time. And we went back home and we listened to a sermon, and it was about obedience, and I felt convicted. I was like, hey, I gotta do this. I know I've always been supportive of you doing it for the men's side. Obviously, your mission, your passion, with our mutual friend taking his life, and then just seeing what's going on in culture in the world today. It's needed. And, as men get stronger, especially if you're married and in a relationship, you can't continue to get stronger if your other half isn't getting stronger as well. And so for me, it's important women to step up and to step into their God-given calling as well. It looks different, than a man. This side of the program looks different than, Warrior 3 Men looks like, right? Our workouts might look different, right? Our encouragement might look different. Women are a little bit more apt to share their feelings, but it's needed. It's a space that's needed. And when mental health is an issue in our country, that bridging of the gap, it's not just think better or feel better or, do the steps, go to a counselor. All those things are much needed, but it also has a massive physical aspect to it too. Your physical health directly impacts your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health. And so women need it too, and most women put those things on the back burner, especially as you start to have kids and get married and all that stuff. So, or get married and then have kids, right? So,
how's it different? Like, you said it's just different, right? Like, how is Warrior 3 women different than Warrior 3 men, and why does it need to be different? Because we live in a culture where it's like, hey, I'm a woman, hear me roar. I've seen that quite a bit. It's like we're equal. Why is Warrior 3 women a little bit different?
I mean, the fact that God made you masculine and me feminine. We have different gift sets very clearly by our physical abilities, but also emotionally, mentally, and how we connect with other women. Even how we handle our kids. Even though we have all boys, you handle our boys differently than I handle our boys. But it's both needed. That's why God put man and woman together. So
it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And that's not always comfortable, right? I mean, you stepping into this role and creating some of this stuff and doing the first, wad in the word at our farm with the women side of things, like it was you're pretty anxious. It's like, hey, I'm nervous. I don't really like to do this kind of stuff, but I think that's a testament to, hey, there's things that you need to do because it's what's right versus like, I don't really want to do this, but I have to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's, like I said, it's needed. I was being asked about it for a really long time. All the wives and women are like, when are we going to meet up? When are we going to do our thing? I think for me, it comes back to lack of confidence and that type of stuff. Everybody has that self-doubt. Am I supposed to be that person stepping into that role? But God's clearly said yes. So here I am.
Yeah. And I personally think that, I was getting a lot of stuff from just patients in the office saying, hey, like my husband needs this, but it was coming from women. It was like, hey, my husband really needs this. Women are more likely to jump into a Bible study, to go meet for coffee, to kind of open up on their feelings. I mean, it was pretty evident at the first Warrior Women WAD in the Word where, double the attendance than men, which I'm a little competitive. So, so yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been working really hard to get men to this thing. And then you just put out some Facebook and text and, 30 women show up. And then like, I can barely get 5 guys there because it's like, working out. I don't want to work out, So it's just a testament that, I think together, women doing something like this, getting stronger, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and then saying, hey babe, like there's something for you, right? Like on your side. So together we can get stronger. And then when our kids see that, now our girls can get stronger, our boys can get stronger. So,
and I just want to speak to a little bit, with the spouse. Usually you have one spouse who's like super excited about it and all in, and they're usually saying, hey, my wife needs this or my husband needs this, right? But what better way to show your spouse, right? Like, and lead your spouse is through your actions. And so jumping into something like this, if you're a woman, you're like, man, my husband needs this. My husband needs the camaraderie. They need to be lifted up spiritually. They need to get right with Jesus. They need to work on their physical health, whatever it may be. When you're changing, they're going to say, I want that too. Right.
Yeah.
And so, if that's our goal, to support our spouse, make our spouse healthier in a lot of ways, like we have to be willing to do it too. You can't just say, well, you need this, go do it. Right. So
yeah, we got to be doers and not just hearers. I get that a lot with men. Hey, my wife is she's struggling. Like she's not working out. Like she's not, she doesn't want to go to church with me. What do I do? And my answer to them is just keep doing the right things. Like just keep diving into the Word, keep getting up every single morning, working out, let her see you in the Bible.
Go to church.
Yeah, just
by
do
yourself.
Yeah, even if they're not coming, because I think a lot of times our spouses or maybe somebody in the community is looking for us to kind of like the chink in the armor. But if you're consistently doing good, And doing the right things and this kind of stuff is about boring consistency. That's why one of the core values of Warrior 3 is consistency. Like anybody can do something for 20 days, but your spouse is looking for that to be something that's just ingrained in the DNA of the family. And eventually they're going to just, be like, wow, like I guess, man, you're just, I'm so proud of you. Like I thought you were going to quit like a month ago, but you're just continually changing. So it's great.
Yeah. And I think there's also a little bit of, well, if my spouse isn't going to jump on board and do it with me, then I can't do it or whatnot. Like a little bit of like victim mentality,
Sure. Yeah.
And so you're not unhealthy because your spouse is choosing to make unhealthy decisions, right? Whether it be spiritually or physically, right? And so you need to do it. You need to take responsibility and not necessarily, well, I'm not as healthy as I should be because, my wife's not getting up and working out either. And it's like, well, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like get your butt up and do it. And maybe she'll join you. Right. Yeah. So, and vice versa. You can't be like, well, my husband doesn't want to go to church with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go to church.
Yeah.
It's like,
I kind of went through that a little bit when, with our chiropractic office. It's like, we went to chiropractic school together. We, first 3 years before we started having kids, it was like, it was going to be me and you. We were going to take over the city and we were going to just, whatever. And then God's like, hey, I want to stay at home and I want to be more of a stay-at-home mom. And for me, it was almost like a few years of trying to figure out, like, how do I do this without her? And it was almost like a victim mentality for me because I was like, hey, you're my sidekick. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And you're like, no, like, this is what God's called me to do. And I've had to really kind of pull myself out of that victim mentality of like, hey, now it's time for me to step up and for me to take the reins. And I don't necessarily need her there all the time to be able to grow this thing, which has helped, but it hasn't been easy. So I get it. So question for me.
Oh, okay. This is, should I do like getting deep or should I like,
you just
do a fun one?
I don't care. Like, you just tell me what you want. Like I'm a victim. Like, right. You're the hunter. I'm just the deer kind of walking through the woods here.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of like what people would want to hear from you, right? Because I feel like sometimes you're seen in this like you got it all together, right?
I don't have it all together. So I think people want to know
the dirt.
Yeah, because
like the hard things. Okay, so
go.
That's kind of where I'm going. So what is one of the most humbling experiences that you've had?
I've always been extremely talented in a lot of things that I've done. Like, so for instance, I've always been very physically gifted, whether it be sports or, whatever ball I picked up, I could play it. Physically, I know this drives you nuts, but like I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted and I wouldn't have any body fat.
Seriously. He can eat like a whole chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And if I get a whiff of it, I gain 10 pounds. He eats the whole thing and like, hey, I lost 10 pounds.
So physically, I've just Division I athlete and wrestling, and I've always been able to physical my way through. But I think one of the most humbling things was just the emotional, the relational side of things. Getting out of chiropractic school, and we kind of had that vision of like, we were in the era of chiropractic before it got a little, I feel like lackadaisical, before COVID, before whatever, like we were in that group where it was like, hey, we're going to go take over the world. We're going to have one of the largest clinics in the country. Like, we were hanging around people that had big, big visions. And then getting into clinic and getting into practice and not really truly being able to just physical your way through it. Like, I'll go over you, under you, or through you, but it happened to work with people, happened to communicate, happened to lead a team is probably the most humbling thing that I've ever had to do, because I was a Division I wrestler. I could control you however I want to control you physically. I would just outlast you in everything that I do. And at the end of the third period, I'm just going to beat you up because you're tired. I was a high school quarterback that pretty much called the offense from the line the entire time. Like our coach just basically said, you call the offense. It was all about me, and, running, being married, and it not being about me, and what I want to do and how I want to act. And I have to lead other people, and myself doesn't come before that. I struggle with that a lot. I was telling somebody the other day that, the Apostle Paul, it's like, he wasn't married, he didn't have kids. It would have been super easy to just kind of Mach 6 with your hair on fire to go change the world. But, I'm married, I've got kids, I've got to step back and say, hey, I don't feel like working out at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm going to push it back to 7, but then that affects everybody else. My attitude coming into the house after having a bad day, it's not about me. It's about other people. So the most humbling thing that I've had to experience is being able to coach and lead other people besides myself, my kids, my wife, staff. I haven't always been very good at it. It's like, just do it. And it's like, what do you mean just do it? Like, yeah, it's very easy for me. Like it's not rocket science. Just do it. Even health, people being like, well, how do I do this? Well, just do that. Like, don't eat the donut. Like, just work out. Like, take the supplements, get adjusted. Like, don't be a dummy. Like, and dealing with individuals that you know what I mean? It's hard. And I sometimes have a false sense of reality of just where people are at. So to get to the question and the answer it'd be leading people and being a father and a husband, and it not being just about me. And I think it was about me for a long time, which is why I think maybe I didn't achieve or feel like I achieved what I was supposed to, because and with Warrior 3 and all the things that we have now, I realized that you can't get anywhere in this life without a solid support system, because I can get to the top of the mountain and I can win, but there's nobody else around me. And then I just go to one mountain to the next, and that's not really what it's about. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't bring mountains with you into heaven.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you can't, no goal. I mean, I was just talking about this last night with you, or I think it was another, Beckett was talking about, he's playing football and, how intense it is. He's a fourth grader, he's playing football, and, the coaches are yelling and sending, videos and things like that in fourth grade. And he even came home and he goes, man, like, Daddy, they're really intense. And I was like, I think intense is good, buddy, but I want you to understand that you're getting a taste of how the world looks at things, gold medals, winning championships. There's a lot of idols in this world. And for him, I said, listen, buddy, you're not taking football with you. And I said, hey, I've got my state championship wrestling medal in the basement. I don't even know where it's at. I don't have any of my trophies of Wrestler of the Year or, MAC Freshman of the Year or anything like that. And I don't even know where those are. It's not that that wasn't important, but they're tarnished and they're not moth-eaten. So, just having that conversation even with our son of like, we're not taking any of this stuff with you. It doesn't mean you don't try hard. It doesn't mean that, you don't try to be a Tim Tebow that used football and sports as a way to bring the gospel to the world. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, there's still work to be done.
There's still work to be done, and don't be a sluggard who's just sitting around and being like, hey, Lord, like someone the other day, I asked him, hey, what are you going to be doing? He's like, I don't know. I'm waiting for the Lord to tell me. I was like, dude, you better get moving. Like, you better get working, because you can sit there all day long being like, hey, Lord, tell me where to go. And I was like, hey, you should probably like take some action. So anyway, question number 2, or 2 for you.
2. Okay.
No, I mean, but I'm going to ask you now.
Oh, you're going to ask me.
Yeah, it's my turn. Okay. It's my turn. You have been, the whole Charlie Kirk thing tore me up. I was pretty just silent about it. Like, I didn't really know how to respond. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Whether or not you loved him or hated him, he loved Jesus, and he stood up for what he believed in, and he worked to share truth. And a lot of the videos that I see, it's like he was willing to hear the other side. And you were pretty distraught and emotional watching Charlie's memorial. his 5-hour memorial. I remember you late at night, you're sitting on the other side of the living room, you're crying. The boys are going over there, like mom's crying. Anyway, Erica Kirk said, Charlie and I were not in competition. I'm there to support him and help him even when it's hard, And so what do you say to the, like, just be you, do what you want mentality that could be destroying the family unit? I remember, having a consultation with an extremely dominant female. Her husband's just kind of sitting there with his arms crossed. Like, I couldn't even ask him a question because his wife just completely bowled over him. Like, it was like this, like, I'm on a power trip. And I feel like the world that we're living in today is kind of trying to make women almost like take over, like, what the man is ultimately programmed by God to do. It's like, not that women can't be CEOs and not that women can't be strong and whatever, but I do think that if we don't watch, like, it could destroy the family unit. And Erica was saying, hey, like, I knew my husband was traveling. It wasn't easy. When he would come home, I was there to support him. It wasn't easy. I'm there to help him. And now that Charlie died, she's like, now it's my responsibility to step in and take over what he did. And now I'm CEO of Turning Point USA. So powerful mom, powerful dad, competition. We find lost kids. We find mom's just working the 9-to-5er, grinding to get up in her company. Dad's working the 9-to-5er, grinding to get up in his company. And all of a sudden it's like, at 50, you look at each other and you're like, who are you? The kids are lost. Mom and dad have been trying to build something, and then divorce. Like, speak to that. I know that was a lot.
Yeah. So what's your question?
My question is that, what do you say to the just be you, do what you want mentality that potentially could be destroying the family unit? Like, why is it important for women to support their wives or husbands, but then also, just the whole just be you, like, do your thing, man. Like, I see so many women that are like, I just don't love you anymore. Like, I just need it. I want to do my own thing. Like, you know what I mean? And then it just like, boom, I jump to this relationship because I just don't feel like I'm where I want to be. That whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my daily choices, even though my feelings want to take over, they're not always about feelings.
Yeah. Feelings aren't a good indicator of function.
Right. Well, and it's hard. It's challenging. I mean, nothing within me wants to, like, be kind and gentle to you when I wake up and find that lunches aren't packed in the morning and you forgot, and maybe it's the second day in a row that you forgot even. You know what I mean? And so, and I have to be the one to get the kids up, get myself up, get everybody out the door, take them to school, do all of that, and there can be, like, I feel like the devil uses that, there can be resentment with that. Like, those are real feelings. And there's no doubt in my mind that men and women feel those feelings every day. But, like, if you allow your whole life to be based off of feelings and how you're feeling all the time, like, it's just going to burn bridges and be one thing after another destructive. And I really do believe in the biblical standard of marriage and gender roles. And Erica Kirk, she laid them out there, like, she had, the strength and braveness in a world that tells us otherwise, like, most of the time it's like, do what you feel. Like, your feelings guide your life. And that's not, like, the Bible talks about our fleshly desires can lead us down the wrong hole.
Yeah, the heart bleeds blasphemy.
Yeah. So,
like, follow your heart isn't necessarily a great.
Yeah. So, like, I have to sometimes, like, logically walk myself through that. And naturally, as women, we're feeling beings. So it does come a lot from, women like, well, I'm just going to do my own thing then, and I could do this better, yada, yada, as opposed to, like, taking a step back and logically looking at it and being like, well, did he really mean to do that? And, well, I do know that today is a big day for him. And, and he gave me grace the other day when I forgot that, there's so many things that can change from a logical mind if you take a step back, you don't react emotionally, and you don't go based on your feelings, because they are deceiving. They can be deceiving. And there's lots of studies out there that show it. It's not just, oh, this is my theory. It's scientific.
Give me an example. What do you mean?
Just like how thinking that way like affects your physiology.
Well, yeah, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you're always thinking, me, this is what I want, I didn't get what I wanted, the victim mentality turns into, well, I could do better. The grass is always greener on the other side. Hey, this isn't who I married 20 years ago, and I feel like I deserve more. We're kind of in that like me, I. And we say this all the time. I would rather fight with you than make love to anybody else. Right? We say that a lot, jokingly, but it's actually really true that, we're in this for the long haul. Like, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We've got flaws, but...
What movie was that?
I don't know.
I can't remember either. It's a famous movie quote.
Yeah.
But it is, it's so true. I don't know how else to say it. Like, you have to make that choice every single day. And I think one of the things that gets me so emotional is that Charlie and Erica, they chose to go against the grain. They chose to go against what culture is saying. And they chose to challenge it and ask questions, and not in a malicious way, because that's done a lot in our culture as well. So, to have that bravery and courage to stand up, like, it makes me emotional. You know what I mean?
It was the perfect example of like the lion and the lamb.
Yeah.
That, like, knowing when to be a lion, but knowing when to be a lamb.
Yeah.
So it's good. You get to ask me now.
Okay. Yeah. So let's lighten it up a little bit.
Okay. Sounds
this
good.
one was a little, we're getting heavy here.
If you haven't noticed, Sam's kind of the lightness in our relationship. I'm
the jokester.
Yeah, I'm the hardcore, like, hey, what are we laughing for? What's laughing?
I'm like, this is getting a little too intense. Let's crack a joke here. Okay. What's the thing that I do that drives you nuts?
Wow, let me see what to pick from here. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey.
The thing that drives me nuts. Like, are we getting like funny on this one, or are we getting serious?
Oh gosh.
Okay, we should probably go funny.
We can do both. Okay. We can do both. How much time do we have? We can do both.
Yeah. I would say let me go serious first.
Oh no.
Just maybe just like, I wouldn't say you're such a humble individual. You always put others before yourself. You're a 2 on the Enneagram. You're a helper. And I think sometimes that turns into like people taking advantage. I'm so different than you are, because like my love language is like, hey, just tell me I'm awesome and buy me a gift and we're good. And you're like, this super deep, creature that's like, I just can't, have a conversation, have coffee, but I got to get to know this person, and I've got to get to them like super deep. So it's not that it's annoying. It's just, I think I don't like seeing you hurt. I don't like seeing you get hurt. And that affects your confidence, which, you're so beautiful. Like, and I know that's, for you, it's like, look at me, and I'm just not where I need to be. And like, you're like 10% body fat. And then I need to be here. And I think it's just, you're so deep that sometimes that can affect your confidence, and confidence is sexy. And not that you're not sexy, but the confidence thing, I just think that you're a beautiful person inside and out. I couldn't ask for better. And so sometimes you just recognizing that is nice. Something that annoys me about you is just on a funny level. Like your way of like breaking the ice because you're uncomfortable is funny and laughing, and like there are just certain things that I'm like, what are you laughing about? Like, that's not funny. Like, yeah, you're just random. Like, you know what I mean? Some people's defense mechanism is just laughter, or like trying to make a joke on something.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I still don't think that you're aware of it, but
Are we on like number 3 that drives you nuts?
no, this is just a funny thing.
Oh my goodness.
This is just a funny thing. I don't really think that you realize it, and I've told you this like multiple times, but like I think that you forget to flush the toilet at times. Like I feel like you forget to flush. Like you're like, yeah, I do that. But like,
I do.
but there's always toilet paper in the toilet. Like it's always there, and I'm just like, how do you flush and it's still
Yeah,
there?
but sometimes like
That's where Hendrix gets his lack of flushing a toilet and lack. I think that it's a genetic trait.
it is not. No, there's sometimes where you use like toilet paper, like to blow your nose, and like you throw it in the toilet, and so like
So that's what that is.
sometimes.
Okay, so those are the funny things that annoy me. So I'm like, every time I go in there, especially at night, like in the middle of the night, like if you get up to use the bathroom, I get up and I'm like, wow, there's someone didn't flush the toilet. And it's like painstaking agony to get our 6-year-old to flush the commode. I'm like, listen, when you go to the bathroom, you flush, you do what you need to do, and then you need to wash your hands. And I think you and Hendrix are anyway.
Oh,
So.
I wash my hands. Don't lump me in with our 6-year-old
Yeah,
here.
good. All right. Okay. Should I go funny?
If you want.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go funny now because
you
you went funny. I was going to go serious because all mine are serious, but let's say, what are the 2 things that annoy you the most about me? Let's go serious and also funny.
Serious.
I think I know what the serious one would be.
You do? What would you say?
I would say just I get angry. I get frustrated. I'm passionate, and like I don't turn that off when I get home. And so it's like, are you okay? Like, no, leave me alone. Or hunting.
That's not serious.
Okay.
Well, maybe to you it's serious, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I would say, it is frustrating sometimes when, like you're trying to enjoy the moment and you get caught up in your head about what happened maybe 5 minutes ago or even the day or two before, or even sometimes like walking into a chaotic house. And I get it. Like we're in a season of mass chaos. Our boys are loud. Our boys are physical. They're destructive. And they want all your attention. So I couldn't imagine how that is. I'm very less cool now that they're getting older. So, but sometimes it's like the almost like the exact opposite of what you said, like how I laugh it off all the time. Like you're so serious all the time where it's like, come on, you gotta just like brush that off. Like you have to expect chaos when you walk in the house. I mean, you're gonna be a miserable person if you expect perfect Betty Crocker order.
No.
Our kids quiet and reading a book when you walk in from work every day, because that's just.
Oh yeah. I don't know why. I don't think I expect that. I just, being in a profession as a chiropractor where you're touching people all day, and then you're like a therapist to a lot of people, and then you come home and you're like, it's bad to expect something when really I should just say, hey Lord, like, hey, I'm just gonna say a prayer and I'm gonna walk into this, but like it's just like you said, like. What's the first thing I do when I come in the house? I take all the pillows that are all over the floor and the blankets, and I put them in the perfect spot, and I fold the blankets up, only for like 2 seconds later for Hendrix to jump off the couch and throw the pillows at his brother and like dishes all over the place. It's just, it's the season of life that we're in, and
yeah,
I totally get it. I'm working on it, but man, that is hard for me. My mom cleaned houses for a living, so our house is somewhat clean, and there was always a candle going, and it smelled nice, and it didn't smell like a fart. Even though, my brother and I did that, it's just a season of life we're in, man. Like our Denali, right? They got a nice Yukon Denali, and, the boys decided to write their names with an ink pen on the back of the leather of our, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like our car looks like someone died in it, and it's just, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? Beckett's just like me. He gets in the car and he's like, I can't sit here. It smells like somebody died and there's boogers all over the place. Like he's like that perfectionist like me. And Zeke and Hendrix are just in the back like, whatever, man. Hey, there's a leftover blueberry over here from like 2 weeks ago. Like, oh, let's eat that. Like it's just such a crazy dynamic. So
yeah, it is. It is.
So that's the serious one. What's the funny one?
That's the serious. The funny one. Well, speaking of cleanliness,
Okay.
Ironic, and your mom.
Is this my closet?
Maybe. Your mom might be very disappointed in you since she is a very clean person.
Yeah.
The laundry situation.
Oh man, I hate laundry.
I can't handle it anymore. Our old house, we used to share a closet, and probably one of the like most exciting features when we were looking at our new house is that like we had 2 separate closets, and they're not big closets, but the fact that they were separate, I was like, perfect. I know what I'm going to do when I do the laundry. I know it's just going to sit on our floor for not just days, not just weeks, but like months.
Yeah. It's hard for me to find underwear. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So my motive now is, great, I'm just going to shove it all in his closet and close the door. And it makes me happy now because I don't see it. But it does drive me nuts. And every now and then I feel pity on you and I break down and I hope you put them away.
Well, you throw them in my closet. You don't put them on the floor. Like you still throw them. You don't help me put them away.
No, I hang up your clothes. I put them. I do.
Your mom does.
Well, she's done it too. She's on the same page. Grandma Bernie understands.
Yeah.
My pain.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's something that I've been convicted, and I even did it the other day, and now we're back to where we were. So it's not a consistent thing that I'm doing, but if you're a dad out there and you have something not great that you're doing, my boys struggle with it. My boys struggle with it. Like you're like, hey, you do not fold their laundry, you do not put their underwear away.
Well, they're getting old enough now.
I'm just saying that they're 6, 8, and 10. And some people would be like, hey, well, whenever in high school they can do it. They're 6, 8, and 10. It is like a mental breakdown in our house whenever our kids come home from school and you've got piles of laundry sitting there. And like literally it's like someone just like basically like ruined their life.
Beckett's getting it now. He has less.
But what I'm saying is that I think that's because when they go in my closet and they see it, they're like, well, Dad doesn't have to do it, so
very true.
It's like, well, hey, eat your vegetables. Well, Dad doesn't eat his vegetables, and Dad can have pizza and crappy. Dad doesn't work out. Like, why do I need to go work out? So I'm convicted by it.
You would make my life a lot easier if you did it, because then the boys would do it better and all the things. But I mean, I say, just because it's a generational thing handed down. I mean, we're breaking generational curses in our household, okay? Like, that's my purpose verse, okay? So, like, this laundry issue stops here. And I always do say, my boys are going to make 4 girls very happy one day, because they will come out of my household knowing how to do laundry, fold laundry, put their laundry away. You can do laundry.
I do laundry. I just don't like to put it away.
Yeah.
Same thing with the dishes. I'll do dishes, but they'll sit in the drying rack for 10 years.
Yes. So finish the task. So it's the same thing with Beckett. He'll feed the dog, but putting water in his water bowl, every single time, I'm like, why do we have to tell you? This is like finishing the task. So anyway, my boys will know how to finish tasks. They will know how to cook and clean and do laundry, and they will make some women very happy someday.
Well, let me just say this, and then we'll move on to the next thing, because that's really good. Like, just finish it. Like, that's a good takeaway from today. Like, finish what you're doing. I will say this though, if it wasn't for me, our boys would leave the house looking like their hair is like the last of the Mohicans. And just an absolute mess. So like I do every single day, like take value in the fact of like, hey, listen, do your hair, brush your teeth. If your shorts, your uniform for school looks like an accordion, go throw it in the dryer. Like, look presentable. So if you marry our boys, right? They're gonna be able to finish the task. They're gonna do the laundry. They're gonna put their clothes away, but they're also gonna look like presentable human beings that you're not gonna have to babysit because they look like somebody who just walked off of, slept underneath a park bench. So I had that conversation with Zeke this morning. I'm like, Zeke, dude, you're a great kid. Everybody loves you. Like, do your hair, brush your teeth, man. Like, put some, Beckett, put some deodorant on. Like, you're wearing the same socks to bed that you wore all day. Like, take them off.
I think if you talk to any boy parents, this is like, boys just like don't want to do personal hygiene until they realize that it turns girls off.
And then they're not married until they never get married. They're the 40-year-old, virgin. Kind of a thing. It's like, okay, so like let's be presentable. Your wife should not have to babysit you and tell you, hey, honey, I got your lunch pack for you. Your alarm clock set at 5. And oh yeah, by the way, I wrote the workout down for you so you can do that when you get up. Like, no, like I'm trying to teach our boys that like you need to make sure that you take care of yourself because your wife's going to have enough stuff she has to worry about. So we're doing good things together. So
yeah, I agree.
That's good. All right. All right. So, let's talk about like, I want you to talk about like running towards the roar. We talked about this a little bit, and maybe that was an Erica Kirk thing again. I don't know if that was who said that, but standing firm on our biblical values, in a world that is like, half truths, like be you, do you, love is love, all these kind of concepts. But like, talk about like graceful truth, and the graceful truth versus like trying to be a peacemaker. You know what I mean? And I think that whole, I want you to explain that whole run towards the roar. I think that just kind of gives people a good perspective of like, how the woman fits into that family unit, and really how that really helps us kind of stand tall together as a unit in a world that is extremely lukewarm with their faith, extremely lukewarm with a lot of things that they're doing, just because, hey, I'm just trying to make peace. Like I'm in the middle, right? I don't want to go one way or the other. I just want to kind of be here,
Yeah. So I feel like you kind of have like 2 points.
Yeah, I'm not good at asking questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Two like massive things.
That's why you're the office manager and the organizer of my life. I should have had you organize my questions.
Exactly. Should have. No, so the like whole truth thing, especially when there's like so many culture issues right now about marriage and gender and hard things, right? Vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many issues, right? Political issues, all the things. The like where I stand on that is truth is love. And in all of those areas, like right now, like they're like culture saying, oh, well, if you don't accept their viewpoint and agree with them or support their behavior, then you're not loving and you're not kind.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the exact opposite, that some of these things that I've done research on and behaviors and viewpoints, they're actually detrimental to people. And it's actually killing people, even to the extreme level, let alone depression, health issues, all these types of things, right, that are plaguing our country. And so for me, without getting super deep into that topic with all the little different issues, like the truth is loving. The truth is stepping outside yourself and saying, I am willing to risk you not liking me because I have a different viewpoint, but by telling you the truth because it's harming you or it's going to harm you.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think some people get the wrong impression of Jesus is that he was in the middle and he loved everybody, but he also stood for something.
Right.
A lot of people hated him.
Right. Well, and he
obviously was killed.
shared the truth about it. He shared the truth about it in a loving way, in a very graceful, tactful way.
But he still got killed. He still got killed for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with now with Charlie.
Yeah.
He brought a kind of light to truth in certain really touchy issues in our society, and he ultimately got killed for it.
Yeah.
And so for me though, like that's my biggest thing, and I've ticked off people. I've ticked off family members. I've lost friends because I've said, well, that's not right. That's not what research says, or that's not what the Bible says. That doesn't make sense. Let's talk about it. And people don't like it. People don't like it when their viewpoint is confronted and this, you're forced to have a logical reasoning behind it instead of just feelings. And so love isn't just feelings. It's truth. It's logic for me. And
I would also say love is really hard and nasty at times. I mean, I love you, but our marriage isn't always perfect.
Right,
you know
right.
What I mean?
Well, and that's where maybe you can transition into the roar thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I knew I was going to do that.
You are so smart. So just like the back end story. So obviously there's like 1,010,000 videos of Charlie and Erica and stuff. And one video of Erica, if you haven't heard it yet, I don't know if she was preaching a sermon or whatever. It was just a snippet of it. But she tells this story of basically when lions go on a hunt. So everybody knows.
Can I stop you real quick?
Sure.
So one of the mottos that we have in Warrior Men is run into the storm.
Oh, yeah.
Like do
it's very similar.
Like do hard things, but it's very different from what you're going to say right now. Like running into the storm means that like we have to stand up and do the hard things to protect our family because we're the providers and the protectors. Now talk about run into the roar, because I think it's different for women.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that part of it isn't so different. I mean, like life is hard.
Oh no,
you know what I mean? Like a lot of it. Anyway, it just so basically. Let me just tell the story.
Got it.
You interrupt me and you derail my train of thought. So basically, when lions go on a hunt, it's the lioness, the female lions, that actually do the hunting. Okay, and they get the antelope or get the whatever.
Antelope.
Yeah. And so what happens is the males actually go and they like bed down, I guess, and they do this like giant scary roar.
Yeah.
And what it does is it causes all the antelopes to obviously run into the opposite direction, right into the female lion pack. And then they obviously get killed and eaten, right? And so the idea behind it is the fear of it is so scary that it, like, of the hard thing, right? It pushes you and causes you to run into the very thing that's going to be your destruction, right? And so it goes like hand in hand with the buffalo running into the storm, like running into the hard thing, like you're through the storm a lot quicker, right? Or sometimes what you thought was the hard thing wasn't even the hard thing. So if the antelope actually ran towards the male lions and ran towards the roar, the idea behind it is they'd basically be able to just like leaps and bounds over the male lions. And
he's just sitting there trying to look pretty.
Yeah. And so typical male. No.
Yeah, we're just beating our chest and then you guys are doing all the work. That's funny.
I mean, you said it. No. I'm just joking. Anyway,
I mean, there's some truth to that, in some instances, but
yeah. So anyway, so
how do we teach our boys how to run into the roar? I mean, I think that was like the what's one thing that I feel like we do that we do to help our kids run into the roar.
Oh man, like.
I can just
There's
say
so
that
many little instances. Like we do hard things, like it's one of the things. I mean, it's easy with sports to teach them these types of lessons. It's almost a guarantee. And a given sports season, one of our boys is going to say, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to go to practice. I don't want to." Participate, I'm done, whatnot. And you ask them why. And usually it's because, well, my team's losing all the time, or it's hot and I don't want to practice. I just want to play in the game, or my coach is mean, or I mean,
complaining.
Right? Like all these different reasons. Right. But like our motto is if you commit, to the sport for the season.
You finish.
You finish it. And sorry, our commitment there, we're doing hard things, right? We're running into it. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's hot. But hey, Beckett, you want to be some sort of pro football player, right? Do you think these guys out on the field don't come to practice because it's hot? No. Yeah. These guys are where they're at because they work their tush off. And so that's just one thing, right? Another thing, one of our boys was being disrespectful in school, and we made him write a letter back to his teacher to say, I'm sorry, all the things, right? And give it to his teacher.
Yep.
And he didn't want to, and he was embarrassed, and it was hard. And I'm like, I get it, but you're the one that you have to take responsibility for your actions, right?
Yep.
And so he gives it to the teacher, and then the teacher actually responds back and gives him a note back and was like, thank you so much. That was like, that means so much to me that all the things that you apologize. And like, he instantly lit up, like he instantly beamed up. And so knowing too that you're doing the right thing, and you're working hard at relationships and all those types of things, you're pushing into it. You're pushing into the storm. You're pushing into the roar. You're not letting the fear of it, right? Like you could easily just avoid the teacher for the rest of the year, and right. But then what's that teaching them? Yeah. Right. Like you have to push in, you have to like attack conflict, not aggressively, right? But like lean into it, and figure out why. So.
This is just a comment, and then you can ask your last question, and then we'll begin to wrap up. But I remember when Zeke, he's the middle. He's very talented at what he does. Like he's very good at what he does.
Yeah, he's natural.
He's very naturally gifted, but he doesn't have like this like fire drive. Like he could kind of care less, Not that he doesn't care, but he cares about people deeply. But when it comes to like being recognized or like, sports or something like that, he's like, Dad, I this is kind of a waste of my time. I'd rather be fishing and like skinning it and eating it. Makes more sense. He's kind of our Bear Grylls. I remember whenever he didn't want to play football, right? And we said, hey, okay, so if you're not going to play football, like, because I'm not going to force you to play football. Like, I don't care if you play football, but you're going to do something. You're not going to sit around. You're not going to be watching TV or whatever. And so you're going to get up with Daddy, and you're going to work out. So Daddy gets up at 5:30. You're going to get up. You're going to do a workout before school. And he did. I mean, he got up and he worked out with me, and and then after 4 days, he was like, "Okay, I'm ready to play football now." So I just, your kids don't really know what they're very smart. Like don't feel like your kids are dumb, but at the same time, like we are the adults. We are we they don't know. Like your 9-year-old doesn't really know what they want. And so we have to step in and we have to be the leader, and we also have to kind of not force them, but guide them into the roar. Because if we don't guide them into the roar, then anytime that they have a deadline or they have a bad relationship or they have a bad altercation about something, they're gonna cower, and they're gonna point the finger, and they're not a good employee, they're not a good spouse, they're not a good teammate. And so anyway, we got time for one more question. You can ask me whatever you want, and then we're gonna wrap up.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it. It won't be like too funny.
Hey, it's okay.
No, we'll keep it along the lines of our boys.
Okay.
So if you could leave the boys with one lasting thought, encouragement, focus, advice.
Oh, man. God, you're gonna get me emotional.
What would it be?
So if it's like I could leave the boys with one lasting thing.
Yeah.
Like if I was like I was on my deathbed and they were talking to me, and it's like, here's what I'm gonna give you. Oh man, darn it, Sam. I would say that your daddy loves you, not for like what you accomplish, but for who you are. And even though I and your mom love you so much, like would die for you, that like pales into comparison of how much Jesus loved you. I think we just don't do in this culture a good enough job of like expressing that. Yeah, mommy and daddy, we love you. We're proud of you. But like, man, like, you know, we're flawed sinners, and you know, there's a God in heaven that like, you know, he's your, I'm your earthly daddy, but he's your daddy. You know what I mean? So, that would be the biggest thing that I would leave them. I would also leave them with, hey, life is hard. You know, things aren't given to you on a silver platter, so it's important to work. It's important to, you know, work hard and have drive, but at the same time, like I don't give myself very much, I would say you need to give yourself some grace, because that's something that I've struggled with. And I don't want my boys to grow up, you know, feeling like they have to run, you know, the Cocodona 250 to prove that they're tough. You know, I don't want them, and not that they couldn't. You know, it's a 250-mile race.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
It's like, you know, I'm kind of one of those guys. It's like, well, you know, what's the next thing I got to do to kind of?
Please don't tell me you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't told you yet.
Gosh.
Another podcast. But you know,
Couples therapy.
I think, you know, if you want to do that, that's great. But Daddy loves you regardless, and life is hard, and you know, be a man, be strong. Be a lion and a lamb. Be tender when you know you need to be tender. Open up the door. Respect your wife. Respect women, but fight for them, and be a warrior. You know, that's what I would say. But ultimately, it's at the end of the day, if you whether or not you're ultimately like uber successful or you don't end up where you think you should have been. You know, you're not taking any of that with you. And the only thing that you're taking with you is your wife and your children. And that's the ultimate goal. So that's what I would tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to do that to me right before the end. So
I love you.
I know, I love you too. So Sam, thank you so much for being on. I'm sure that after this podcast, we're going to get a lot of people that want you to be on. Anything that you want to say to the women out there about getting plugged into Warrior 3 Women?
Yeah, I mean, we have launched our WAD and Words, where we actually have in-person meetings.
At our farm. If you're local to the area and you're in Columbus or local, we've got a 40-acre farm. We call Warrior 3 Farms. So we got a big barn and we've got a big CrossFit facility in there. And so once a month we do a WAD and the Word. And
yeah. So WAD is a workout of the day. It's like a CrossFit term, but we do a workout, so we get physical, and then you know, we jump into the Bible together and get real. And then we also just launched, along with the men's platform. So it's a digital wellness platform where you get a devotional, a workout, a WAD, and then a nutrition tip and a recipe every single day. And so it's a great way to slow drip if you're getting new into any of the areas, spiritually, physically, family, relationally. If you're just trying to improve in any of those areas, it's a great way to get plugged in. And you can comment, you know, in the platform. The men's and women's is different. So, you know, if you're completely dropping bombs about your husband, he won't know.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like
Fight Club. It's like Fight Club.
It is not.
Whatever happens in Fight Club stays at Fight Club.
It's too funny.
Yeah, if you can go to warrior40challenge.com, you can actually purchase the Warrior Women or the Warrior Men. You get 40 days for free, which is kind of crazy because normally when something's free for 40 days, that means it sucks. But this is like really good, and you know, when people to experience it, we want you to see change, and then after that, it's $25 a month. And you know, we're partnering with some cool organizations, Classical Conversations, Homeschool, some other big health organizations. And so we're really excited to see where God leads us in this. And we go live on the men's platform every Tuesday. If you want Dr. Sam to go live more, maybe comment on this, and maybe we can get her to do some live stuff. But anyway, we really appreciate you guys being on the podcast and listening to this. Share this with somebody, a man or woman who you love and you care about, someone's close to you but far away from God, far away from their health. Maybe they're broken in their relationship. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to go to warrior40challenge.com and get signed up. We'd love to walk alongside you. So thank you so much. Have a great day.